Okay, we are back here at the Everyone Hates Car Salesman podcast with me, your host, Scope for Real 216 on social. Give me a like, give me a follow, give me a share. I don't care how you get it out there. Tell your buddies. Doesn't matter to me. Just get it out there. So we are back today, and we have a guest on today that I'm super excited about. This is a gentleman that I respect him and his business in a way that I probably can't even put into words. Started a business from scratch, designed to help customers and clients learn how to buy cars better, and saves people lots of money. But just has a great take and POV on his business and how he can help people. And his heart's in the right place too. So we're gonna have Billy on here, Billy the Car Kid on social. Billy, you want to say hi?
Hey, everybody.
So Billy's a good friend of mine. I mean, we met through social media platforms, which if you're a Gen Xer like me and Billy, it's weird still that you make friends on social media, but it is what it is. Before we get started, I would like to take a second to thank our sponsor, Credit Saint. So are you tired of being held back by bad credit? With Credit Saint, you can take control of your financial future and unlock the doors to better opportunities. You join the community of satisfied clients. They have over 14,000 five-star Google reviews. You can't make up 14,000 five-star reviews. And experience personalized credit repair services that help you rebuild your credit score, achieve your dreams. Call 855-279-6799. That's 855-279-6799. Credit Saint will get you on the road to financial freedom. You'll be able to buy whatever car you want. I don't know. I'm just saying that. So anyways, on this podcast, I like to have people on here that inspire me. I like to have people on here that I respect their hustle and their grind. I like to have guests on here who are transparent and honest about the car business, about their business, about themselves, and so on. And Billy definitely falls under that umbrella. Billy, thank you for being on, buddy.
Hey, thanks for saying those nice words, Sean, and thanks for having me. I was
Yeah.
super excited when you asked me, man.
Well, I appreciate that. So I want to kind of jump right in, but I want to touch base a little bit. I think that it's important, and this is for you, Billy. I think it's important that people understand, first and foremost, what is it that you do?
Good question. So a lot of people don't believe what I do, and when they hear about my services, they're like, "If I had only known this was a service, this is something that you can actually do." Of course, first and foremost, I'm giving advice online and trying to help people navigate the dealerships without getting taken advantage of. But in the end, my business model is doing it for you. So if you're unable to do it yourself, or you just don't want to deal with it, and your time is money, and you don't want to get taken advantage of, then you can just hire me to do it for you. I will call the dealership, get you the best deal, and when everything's negotiated, send you in.
Wow, that's all. I'll tell you what, I love DoorDash. I love Instacart. If you tell me I can hire you to do something for me and I get my time back, I'm 100% in, as long as it makes sense financially. So your business is about, you negotiate car deals for clients who don't have the time, just need the convenience, whatever it is. Maybe they feel uneducated, and that's where you can come in and you kind of protect them from not knowing what they don't know.
100%. I think a lot of people, it's the blind leading the blind generationally. I mean, if I look back to my father taking us to the dealership when he would negotiate the car deal, it was all about him yelling at the guy and being
I love
mean
that
to
you
the
did this.
salesman.
I love that you did this. Yeah, go ahead.
That was it. My dad was like bah, 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 to the salesman, and he never really got much of a discount. And as you know, you get more bees with honey than you do vinegar. So
Yeah.
I learned the wrong. He didn't know what he was arguing about. He just knew he was getting ripped off, and he didn't know how. Right.
Yeah.
And I think this day and age, it's still like that. A lot of people that thought they were getting a great car deal for a lot of years from their salesman weren't, and they told their son that this is how you do it, or their daughter, this is how you do it. Daughter goes in, son goes in, same thing happens. It's just going to repeat. And education and learning about what you're doing, especially with a big ticket item, the second biggest thing most of us buy in our lives. And we buy 8 of them on average. I think that it's so important to know how to do it. And I'm going to be honest with you here. Until I worked in the car industry, I was one of those statistics. I didn't know how to do it either.
Yeah. What's the difference between, and I think it's important that we make a distinction. What's the difference between you and a broker?
Thank you for asking, actually. So I've actually made some videos where I say broker because that's the nomenclature. That's what everybody knows it as, right? Is you're doing the deal for them, and a broker is actually going to work a lot of the time with the dealership and the customer, so they're getting paid from both people. And the customer's paying for the convenience. They think savings, but a lot of times the savings they could have gotten from the dealer is actually given to the broker in the form of compensation for bringing the customer. Where I'm an advocate, I give any and all savings to my customer. And how you know this to be true is I don't call the dealership and tell them who I am. I tell them I'm a family member. Unfortunately, I have to be a little bit misleading, and that's how you know if I'm saying that I'm not getting anything for my pocketbook from the dealership.
Right. No, that makes sense. And I've got some other questions about your business and how you do it, and I know you'll be transparent about it. But I want to talk a little bit about you. You're an interesting guy.
Thanks,
You know,
buddy.
to be quite honest with you, you've always been interesting to me from the first time I saw your videos. We kind of connected one time. You know, because
Yeah.
what you were doing in my mind at this point in time, I had just sold my dealership, and I was like, man, what do I want to do? You know what I mean? I don't have to do anything. I mean, I don't need the money. I'm not a
Right.
multimillionaire, but you know, I don't need the money. I don't need a job. I want to do what I want to do. And there was a
Yep.
part of me that wanted to do what you do. I was like, man, maybe I could do that. I mean, I knew I could do that, but it was interesting to me that your conversation with me, we had a conversation, and I don't know if you
Yep.
remember this or not,
Oh yeah, I do.
but you were on a different level with your passion about it, and you were in a different headspace about how it could work and help people. And honestly, that's when I knew I don't need to be doing that. I don't feel that way about it. I
Right.
really don't. At my core down here, I'm a car guy. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? I mean, I'm a car dealer. I've owned dealerships and I've ran them, and I may again someday. And so you had clearly transitioned over into no, my life is about helping people learn how to buy cars and saving them money. So that
Yep.
was interesting to me. Where did that passion come from for that?
If I'm being completely honest, and that's what I planned on doing for this podcast, I did have a bit of a chip on my shoulder with the auto industry when I left the auto industry, and it was because of the way I left. I guess I quit my job, and I was promised things that didn't come to fruition. I went to a place that I didn't know the business model as well as I should have before accepting the career and the job. I was given my own store right here in Missoula, to run and take care of as essentially the head honcho and making all these decisions. And instead of making the decisions, I was constantly being told from corporate, no, 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 we need to do this, we need to do that. And which was fine. I understood it was a profit margin model and that's what they were worried about. But there's got to be some balance there, because sometimes helping a customer out and putting yourself in the red with a customer can create a lifelong customer and referral business and somebody that never forgets that. And I think when I was a salesman and I was a really successful salesman, that's exactly what I did. I didn't really, I kind of always, when the customer came in, I was like, it's me and you against the dealership, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Let me go see if I can get my manager to do this. And that wasn't bullshit. I'd go in there and beat on him. And because
right.
I did it so often, my manager was just like, here, I can't even handle you. Just here's the deal, right?
Right.
And I sold more cars than anybody. And I started learning because, of course, as you know, at the dealership, the finance kind of is quiet. You don't tell the new guys about what's going on in finance. You just say, yeah, just
Right.
let them talk to us.
They'll
And
mess it up. Yeah.
yeah, you got it. So I started to learn that aspect of it really well when I was a salesperson. And I was like, man, I could save my customer money. And I realized finance was ruining deals for me. I had the deal all worked out. And then they got their interest rate over the phone. They're like, I'm not even using you guys now. This guy's being crazy, right? And I was like, dude, you got to stop telling people these crazy rates. You're ruining I worked for 4 hours with this guy and now it's gone.
Yeah.
Right. So I
Yeah.
started taking matters into my own hand. Well, that being said, I went over here, I got my own store. I couldn't do that anymore. I was unable to do that. Even though I was the head honcho, I was running the store. They didn't
Yeah.
allow me to make any real executive decisions. It was just this way or that. Plus, it was the first time, Sean, I was introduced to a Foursquare. And
Oh,
prior to
yeah.
that, I guess my dealership that I worked at wasn't near as shady as I thought, because I went to a store that was. Now,
Yeah.
to be clear, the store I went to was owned by the same entity, Sonic. Okay,
Oh,
and
okay.
Sonic owned the world's biggest Dodge Ram dealership at the time, and they also had just bought Northwest Motorsports, which there was about 14 locations in the Northwest. And I heard there was a location in my hometown. I could be close to my kids. I could run my own store. I jumped on it, right?
Yeah, of course.
I had to take advantage of my own friends, and I couldn't do anything to help them because that was the business model, right? And my friends followed me. They followed me to my new store. And it hurt. It sucked. And I didn't like feeling that way. And my moral compass was not intact anymore. And I was doing things that I told myself I wouldn't do.
Yeah.
And I quit. And at the time, this is crazy. I mean, like you said, we're Gen Z, or, Gen X.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And,
X.
I only had Facebook at the time, right? TikTok was brand new to me. I didn't do TikTok. They made me the social media expert for their whole company because they saw that we were generating over 200 extra leads a month off Facebook, right?
Yeah.
And they were turning into a lot of sales, and they couldn't source it because we were sourcing everything. And they were like, "Where are these leads coming from?" I'm like,
right.
I'm telling my guys in our meetings to get on Facebook or you're fired,
Yeah.
So I did a lot for this company, and I really tried to help them out, and they didn't seem to appreciate it, I guess. So
yeah,
there's where the chip came on my shoulder.
Yeah.
I left. I had some savings, and I was like, all right, I'm going to get a new job in the industry, right? Yeah. And what happened is my friends were still calling me for can you help me with the car? And I'm like, I don't work there anymore, and actually I wouldn't shop there. I'd shop here, and I'd say this, and I'd do this, and I wouldn't do that. And now my hands weren't tied. I could be completely honest, right?
Yeah.
And my friends would be calling me like, dude, I saved more money than when you were working there on this deal. I'm like, yeah, I know, man.
Right.
So
I couldn't tell you all that stuff before, dude. I couldn't tell you all. Yeah, right.
Exactly. So fast forward, I'm running out of money, and I'm like, what am I going to do I got to go back to a dealership. I applied at some local places. I was offered used car manager at a couple places, and it was good pay, 150 a year, and I'm like, or more, which is great for around here. And I was like, man, I'm just gonna have to give my life up again, because when I do something, I do it. And that's why I was the most successful salesman. And let me just preface that at the world's biggest Dodge Ram dealership, having never sold a car before, my second year there, and this is not a lie, I'm not an exaggeration, I broke every single sales record ever that they've ever had, ever.
You're kidding me.
No, and I still hold those records. I sold more by 100 cars than their top salesman ever did, ever.
You're kidding me.
No.
That's amazing, dude. I tell you, it's funny because I could see you being amazing selling cars. And so I look at it through the general manager lens, let's just call it. I look at it when I meet somebody, it's a natural thing for me. I don't know why, but I look at somebody and go, could I use that person if I was in a dealership? How would I use that person?
Yeah.
And that's just a thing that has happened over the years, where everybody that you look at, you're immediately thinking, how would I use that person? And I know exactly how I would use you. You would be an assassin, like me and you together. I already know how I would use you. And but I anticipate that, or I believe that part of the reason that you were so successful is, and that's very successful. That's no joke. You're talking about holding records at a store of that size, and they still stand. That's not like I used to be in the car business.
Right.
That's like I was a stud, and I just decided to do something different. Not because I couldn't go do it again, because I think you could probably go back right now and make a couple $100,000, couldn't you?
Brother, if I went back with the perspective I now have as a customer for 2 years instead of the seller, I can tell you all the things I wouldn't say and wouldn't do that I used to do, all my bad habits.
Yeah.
And I'd be a even deadlier.
You'd be lethal.
Yeah.
I love it. I tell you what, dude, you're doing a great job at what you're doing. How many of these do you do a month, if you don't mind?
Yeah, sure. It started off, we really kicked off. So we've been in business for 2 years. And then last October, not this, but the one previous, of 2023, it started just being really like steady. Like, wow, we did 20 deals this month. Wow, we did 20 deals this month. And then it just grew and grew and grew. And I can only handle so much because I have to hire somebody to do them for me, at this point. And I have one employee that's been with me for the long haul. And then I've had a couple employees bounce in and out. The problem is, Sean, is that if your heart's not in the right place for this job and you're just being a salesman, you're lying to the customer and selling them now and trying to just get me to pay you because you got the deal done, and you're not doing the best job for the customer. So when I smell that, you're done. But we're doing about 50 deals plus a month right now.
Oh, dude, that's a real thing. So that's that's a bell to bell, right? I mean, is it you and the wife? Is that who it is? You and the
Yeah.
oh,
She's the onboarder. So if you sign up with me, you're gonna pick a date. You go to her first, and she's gonna help you find the vehicles, pick out, maybe advise you to a different vehicle depending on what you're doing. And
okay,
then once we pick out, hey, we want this price range, we're looking at this payment, this trim package, yada yada yada. She's gonna find all the vehicles in your area that match that
yeah.
for us, the negotiators, to call about.
Oh God, so you got to hold that. So there's a real method to the madness. I mean, there's a real process behind it. So you got
Yeah,
an
there
onboarder.
is.
So
There
customer
is.
comes on board. She helps. Mrs. Billy helps. Helps them find the right car, make sure we're on the right car. This, any other. Now, talk to me a little bit because I think that if I'm not mistaken, I feel like I've heard you touch a little bit about that you participate maybe loosely in helping them get the best finance stuff. Is that a thing or is that am I wrong?
Yeah, and I always kind of envisioned when I started this, like that's a big part of the deal, and a way a lot of people get taken advantage of. And you know, I don't want to say dealership profit's a bad word because it isn't. You guys have to make money, but
Right.
I don't want you to take advantage of somebody is my biggest thing. So financing's a place where I saw the finance guys would give their mom, they'd up their mom 2 points, you know what I mean, and full price of warranty, and I just was like, whoa. So I guess what I thought about was not just the front end purchase price and what can I save you on the money on the front end, but for those of you who don't know what front end means, just purchase price to what you actually pay, how much you got off. But the financing and even the warranty were a big part of that savings. So yes, with my customers, once I've got the best deal on paper, I don't send them in until we have the financing either arranged at your bank or at the dealership. And if I smell something
Okay.
fishy, I'm going to say something.
Oh, God. Okay. So yeah, because today more so than ever, again, as a let's call it a sales manager, now put on my sales manager hat, I'll give you a couple 3 grand off the price of the car if I'm going to pick up the financing. Because unbeknownst to you, I mean, everybody does know today, but I have an opportunity to make more back there than I do between the difference
Right.
of what I own the car for and what I sell to you for. So
Right.
as a dealer, getting money off the cars, I'm not going to say easy, especially on specialty cars. They're not all easy,
Sure.
but where somebody can get tattooed is on the back. So I like that you partake in that. I think that's got to be awesome for your customers because what another headache. Okay, I finally found the car I like.
Yep.
Jesus, now I got to worry about is this guy crushing me on the rate? Is that too
Yep.
much for gap insurance? Could my insurance company give me gap? So the fact that you have inserted yourself in that process is great. Um, what would you say? Yeah, what would you say is the common misconception about guys that or you about your line of work about what you do?
Yeah. I'm happy you asked because I was thinking about this before we got on here. Like, what is something that people like kind of don't realize about my business is you don't have to be there at the dealership. Everybody thinks, well, how do you do this if you live in Montana nationwide? And they don't realize that everything's done over the phone outside of test driving and them checking out your trade. You can do almost everything over the phone. And there's no reason for me to be there. That's a big misconception is that, well, you don't live in New Jersey. How are you going to help me in New Jersey? And that's okay. Even if you lived here in Missoula, I wouldn't go to the delership with you either.
Yeah, we're not going there. Yeah, we're not going
Yeah,
there.
you're
We
gonna
got
pay
better
me
things to
double then. Yeah.
do. So, dude, I got to touch on the Montana thing. I mean, have you been to Yellowstone? I mean, have you been to the ranch?
So that's funny you said that. I've never been to Yellowstone Park or Glacier, right?
Okay.
And I've lived here for a long time, and I think it's
Yeah.
because it's so beautiful everywhere you go, Sean. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't need to go see more of it. I've already seen it,
All
but
right. All right. All right. Because I come
but
out there to visit you. We're going to see the ranch. I am going to see the ranch, the
I
Dutton
live
Ranch.
I live 40 miles north of where Yellowstone was filmed,
Yeah, I'll get out of here. Okay.
and my kids are actually extras in Yellowstone all the time.
Dude, stop it. You got to be
Yeah,
kidding me.
swear to
Dude,
God.
that's amazing. Oh my God. Holy cow. So obviously then now we're getting off topic now. But like, so have they met Rip?
Um, no, I don't think they've
No.
seen like the guys walking by, but they
Yeah.
never got
Yeah. Yeah.
introduced. And they
That's
have some
awesome.
clips that they show me where like there I am, Dad, right there. See, there's me and my cowboy hat.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
it's
how
kind of
cool.
cute. Yeah.
How old are your kids?
My oldest is 23 and my youngest is 10, and they're all girls.
Oh, jeez. Of course, of
Of
course.
course they are.
Yeah, of course they are. I couldn't be any other way.
But
Um,
Montana's awesome, dude. It's beautiful, and it's a unique market for cars too. Like there's just big cities, and you have to drive a long ways to get to the next big city, and
yeah.
that's where your dealerships are. So every
Okay.
dealership kind of knows that this guy's charging this. We can say this if they haven't looked around. We can do this. So you'd be surprised, out of my 50 plus clients a month, maybe one a month is Montana.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow.
you
That's
know.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane. Um, so what would you say has been your biggest, what's been your biggest challenge so far in this endeavor? I mean, or even personally, whatever you want to talk about.
Um. Biggest challenge so far. I would say at first, because we were grinding it out for a while and not very successful, right? And we had this great idea. I was actually in the shower one day and I was helping friends, like I told you, and
Yeah.
they're going, I got a great deal, man. And I had no career, no direction at the time. I was like, what am I gonna do?
Oh,
And I screamed my girl's name, Shekinah, come in here. And I go, you know what we should do? We should open a website and a service doing what we're doing already, and we can monetize our information. And she's like,
right.
but then I started doing that, Sean, and for a half a year I didn't get anybody hiring me because I didn't know how to get the word out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was begging people basically with bad sales breath, like, please, I'll show you my worth, and
Yeah.
I got these guys out here like, I bought my diesel truck from this guy, I don't need you, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
okay, man, I get it. Well, it even inspired other services where I middleman selling your vehicle for you on Facebook, because a lot of
I
females
remember
hate
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started doing that and to supplement my income. And then my daughter, my oldest daughter, said, Dad, you keep putting these Facebook posts up on your personal page about cars that nobody wants to hear, and you're losing friends. Your friends have gone down about 400,
Oh
you
no.
know? And
It's
she
going
goes,
the
it's
wrong
because
way.
you're on
Yeah.
the wrong platform, Dad. You need to be on TikTok. And I'm like, that's for kids. I don't want to be on TikTok, right?
Get out of here. Your daughter? Get out of here. Wait, which one?
My oldest.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yep.
So she turned you on to TikTok, and then
That's it. It blossomed. I put my first post up and it went viral, the very first post, right?
it hit a
And
million.
well, not, I guess not viral, but
Oh,
for me, viral.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
had a lot of views. It had more likes than I'd ever gotten in my life on any post, right? Or all
Yeah.
my posts put together. And I was like, whoa, that was pretty good. So
Yeah.
I just kept thinking of creative stuff to say, and like the information I thought people should be hearing if I was out there. Oh, that'd be interesting to hear, right?
Yeah.
And it kept working. The formula kept working. And then all of a sudden, I had a lot of people asking me, how do I hire you to do it for me? And I was like, yes, my website, the link in the bio,
Yeah.
please,
Yeah.
please,
Yeah.
and it came to fruition. It started to come slowly but surely. And now, Sean, if I could hire three more guys, I mean, I'm not lying to you. I turned down $20,000-$30,000 in work last month because I'm booked out. I can't do it.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So that's why I think this is a growing industry. There's going to be more guys like me and females, people doing this job. And I think it's going to be, if you like that person, if you relate with that person, you'll hire
For
them.
sure. For sure. No different than who you buy a car from if you're buying from a dealer. You go on
Exactly.
social, whether it's TikTok, whatever platform, and you go on there and you connect and somebody resonates with you as a car salesperson. You're like,
Right.
Dude, I'd spend my money with that guy. It's going to be the
Mm-hmm.
same with you. There's going to be so many choices. But
Yep.
you being first to the party, or one of the first, or at
Yeah.
least say, from what I know, one of the first, is going to give you a distinct advantage, obviously, because you're going to be able to
Absolutely.
grow and outpace the little guys and whatnot. So so your biggest challenge, I mean, what you're telling me is there's too much business for you. Just
Right
you.
now, yeah. And
Yeah.
as far as customers go, my challenge is this. When a customer hires me, I tell them right up front during the consultation, before they hire me, in my videos, you're not hiring me to save you a bunch of money. That's going to happen. Don't worry. You're not going to get taken advantage of, essentially. And the deal you might have put together and the deal I'm going to get for you will be entirely different, probably, right?
Yeah.
But more importantly, you're hiring me to take care of it, so you don't have to have that buyer's remorse, and you have that peace of mind and your time back. Well, of course, you still have customers that can't see. Like, for instance, we talked about financing and how much money you can save. It's
Yeah.
hard to show the customer that you were going to get an 8%, but because I said this, you got a 6%, right?
Right.
And how much money that saves them on the course of the loan, because they don't know anyway, and
Yeah.
they just look at like, well, you only saved me $1,000 off the purchase price, even if it was a high demand car, and that's better than everybody's getting, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes that's a hurdle, but most of my customers come to me knowing already, I just don't want to deal with it. That's really what it
Yeah.
boils down to. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that being the driving factor, because I know for me, I'll trade money for time anytime you want. You want to trade me some of my time back and I give you some of my money, brother, I am so in for that. And that is,
Right.
on little things, but definitely big things for sure. What an amazing little pocket of opportunity that you've kind of nestled yourself into that actually brings value. And I think that's awesome. So now you're busy as all get out. You got an office. I'll never forget the day I saw you post a video of having your own office.
Yeah.
I say this in the most manly, masculine way I can. I promise you, I almost had a tear come out of my eye for you. I was like, F yeah, F yeah.
Thanks,
I was
dude.
like, there's a guy was in the car business, stuck in the car business, and was like, you know what, bro, I'm doing something else, not because I have to do something else,
Yeah.
because I want to. And when I saw you open the office, I was, dude, jacked for you. I mean,
Thank you.
and that's genuine. And because I'm an entrepreneur at heart, I love entrepreneurs. I've worked for dealers and everything, but I've had my own things many times. And to see somebody, you know, get off the teat, of the car business, the car dealership teat, right? Where, you can go and you can get fed and, all this other stuff, but it doesn't allow for fluidity in your life and the ability to have a good life and a social life and spend time with your kids because of the hours and whatever. I was like, that's my guy. So that's when,
Thanks, dude.
yeah. But I also knew that it was I was like, oh, you got bills now, bro. Now you gotta grow it. You got bills now.
I was afraid to take that and move into that position where I had a monthly bill every month. But I knew it was what I needed to do to show that I'm serious. It's professional. It's a real deal. And it definitely behooved me. And honestly, it's funny. The industry, I love it. I really do. I wouldn't keep doing this if I didn't, right?
Yeah.
I loved work. I loved selling cars, Sean. I loved going to work, and I worked 80 hours a week because I wanted to, not because I had to. I was there later than I had to. I was there on Sundays when nobody was.
Yeah.
I was walking the trade lots from the weekends trades, calling customers that had told me if anything comes in like this. I never stopped, right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was always thinking, how can I get another message out on Facebook to tell people about this or that? And I didn't want to leave the auto industry. I just didn't want somebody else telling me, I guess I didn't want to be controlled the way I was being controlled.
Yeah. And it's crazy because we're by nature high performing self motivators. But then you get into a dealership and you got some guy who may or may not be as smart or talented or experienced as you telling you what you got to do all day. And it's like, bro, I'm not that guy. You don't got to tell me nothing. Just, you know what I mean? Just make sure my check's right. How about that? You know what I mean?
I bet you can say there's some truth to this, especially being in all the different positions you've been in.
Yeah.
My manager, when I was doing my very best, okay, and just to give you perspective here, there was 24 managers at this store, and there was probably 30 to 40 finance guys at any given time. And there was 120 salespeople, right?
Oh my, Jesus, that's a monster.
It really is. And if I had any other manager, I wouldn't have done as well. And I'll tell you why. Because he knew that if he rode me all day like he did the other guys, and he treated me like, he was just being bitchy about stupid stuff. He picked his battles with me.
Yeah.
And he was cool about the way he did it because he knew I was a kind of a confrontational guy. I'd get right in his face back. And he knew how to work me. He just, and he was, I can't say thank you enough, because if there was somebody else, I would have had, far less numbers.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, these guys call themselves managers today. And, what's lost is exactly what you're saying. In the automotive industry, your job is to get inside that person's psyche and find out what motivates them. Now, not everybody's motivated by money. Some people it's pride. Some people it's ego. Some people it's money, for sure. Everybody's different. But if I don't get inside your head and figure out what makes you tick, not overall, I'm talking about on a daily basis, I need to know, how's Billy's life today? What's going on? How am I supposed to get the most out of you if I don't know that you're fighting with your wife? If I don't know that your kid is sick? If I don't know that, whatever there is. So
100%.
that guy you're talking about, kudos to him, because he he took the time to learn. I need to know how to manage this
Yep.
horse. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So good. I don't know who that guy is, but if you ever talk to him, tell him I personally said, nice job. That's good
I will.
management. Not a lot of people
We're
do
still
that.
buddies. I actually call him the bullshit now because I do consider him a friend, and I always did. And it's because of what you're saying. He asked me, "What's going on, man? What's going on with your life?" You know,
Yeah.
and you know, maybe that was because he was the manager and he's doing what you said, but it was genuine,
Yeah.
and it formed a relationship and a friendship over time. And I respect him a lot. You know,
Is he
and
going to
there's a
come
lot
work
of
for you?
guys
Is he
in.
going to come work for you?
You know what's so funny is I would think out of all those people that knew me there and
Yeah.
knew how successful I was there and that I'm doing this now, a lot of them know what I'm doing. Not one has ever reached out in for a job or anything. And I think what it is, honestly, is that you know this is career suicide for them in their head. They're like
Yeah.
you're picking a side and you
Yeah.
can't go back if it doesn't work out.
Yeah. Well, it's also, you have a demeanor about you that until you get underneath the shell, can be, listen, I, not a lot of people have I met will match my work ethic. And I think you're one of those guys too. I don't think a lot of people are going to match your work ethic. So it's hard to go to work for somebody like myself or you because, the guy's like, I don't want to work that hard. Like this guy's like belly, this guy's like grind from the moment he opens his eyes till he puts his head down. Like, I don't know if I want to work that hard. So I think it probably costs you employees or myself even,
Dude,
because
yeah.
the standard I'm going to hold you to. And I think you're that guy too.
Yep.
And
Yep. I
so
went through 6 assistants as the salesman there because my assistants would say, I'm not working every day of the week, Billy. Stop calling me.
yeah,
I was like, you're making $12,000 a month as an assistant. Yeah, you are working every day of the week. We're doing
right,
this. And I
right. Because I
expected
want you to make that money because I
yeah,
care.
if I'm putting this much effort in and you came to play and you knew what I was up to, then you better come to play. Otherwise,
Yeah,
step out of the way because you're in my way.
yeah. No, that it's an interesting dynamic, especially the generations today. They look at things a little bit differently than we do. And I am not saying ours is better and theirs is better or whatever worse. It's just different. So, especially to try to find like a Gen Z who wants to, do it like we were taught to do it. Yeah,
Right.
it's just a little bit of a different animal. But
It is.
to their credit, guess what? They can open their phone, create and start making videos on TikTok and make money. And,
Right.
had we had that option 30 years ago, I don't know.
Dude, when I was at that store, my daughter tried to tell me about TikTok and that I should go on there. And I think it was when Russ and Abe were just getting going, right?
Yeah,
And I probably yourself, but I knew of Russ. I just
yeah,
for whatever reason I knew of Russ. I'd seen some of
yeah,
his videos, and I was like, yeah, I mean, he's making content like I don't know if I do it like that because I'm a different dude, right?
yeah, yeah,
And I also just couldn't wrap my head around being in front of the camera like that. It was just weird, right?
yeah,
So I was like, yeah, we're gonna get to that. Right now, I'm worried about these sales that I'm getting, right? And I
yeah,
just put work in front of that and never thought about that avenue and what it could do for me. And it wasn't until I was, like I said, financially, I was like, I got to make some money. I'm willing to do anything. I got to put myself out there. I got to get in front of this camera and talk. And I found out I like it. I kind of actually gravitate towards it now. I enjoy it.
yeah. That's cool, man. Yeah, it's great to see how things, you know, have organically sort of lined up for you. And you're an entrepreneur out there. You're thinking about starting a business like Billy's. You're thinking about starting a content business, whatever it is. Let the planets align themselves. Because when
Yep.
it happens organically, like what you're saying, and your daughter goes, Dad, why don't you post on TikTok? That was organic. That was
Yep.
the universe, or whatever you want to call it. You
Yep.
know, giving you here,
100.
here you go, son. You know what I mean? So when it's organic like that is when it sticks.
She came over as my assistant. We did that successfully and broke all the records together, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then when we left, she's still with me. And I got to keep this gal that had this great industry knowledge. She's been working in the industry since she was 18. She's 29 or 28 rather. And so she's been doing it since she was a kid. This is her first job. And I have her by my side, you know what I mean?
awesome.
Which is so cool because I think we're one of the only husband-wife teams, if you will, doing
Awesome.
this.
Yeah. Did you say she's 29, Bill?
28.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna. You look a little older than that.
Yeah, I'm 45 actually.
We're just gonna
And
leave that. We're just gonna leave that
yeah,
right
leave
there.
that alone.
We're just we're gonna leave it. Oh, I love it. So today, what keeps you motivated, man? You get up in the morning. It's there's snow and it's just yucky and you're worn out and the kids and this, that, and the other. How do you like the fire?
It's so weird, man. Since I got manic in the car business, I never really stopped. So even when I quit selling cars and I was at home, I was like, what can I do today? How do I stay busy? I just didn't know what to do with myself. So I went to the
Yeah.
gym a lot, you know.
Yeah.
I had worked out and just like got that out of me. And this is an awesome endeavor. I'm every night when I go to bed, I'm thinking of content for tomorrow. When I wake up, I'm thinking I should go live. What can I tell people that can help them? And like I was saying earlier, if your heart's in the right place, right? Like if you're thinking about doing this for a career and your heart's in the right place, you're not just like, can I make a bunch of money? You're like, how can I really help people and
Yeah.
get this information? Because there's so many people that don't hire me, Sean, and they just text me and say, thank you. You don't know what you did for me, right?
Yeah.
If your heart's in the right place, it will come together. It will work because people gravitate towards transparency,
Yeah.
and and they can feel that I'm passionate, and they can feel that I want to get this done for you, and I'm all about it.
Yeah.
And when they feel that, they feel comfortable. I don't have to sell them. When somebody calls me for a consultation, there is no sales process there. I'm not pitching. I'm
Yeah.
just telling them how they can help themselves, and then they ask me to do it for them.
Yeah. And I tell you what, man, I forget who said it. Somebody who's got a lot more money than both of us. I forget where I read it or somewhere I watched it on something, but a guy says, anybody out there wants to be rich, I'm going to give you the best piece of advice you could ever get. Solve people's problem. Find a problem that people have and offer a solution. You'll never work a day in your life.
Yep.
And I think that's what you've done with this, with your business. And, and it's important to know that you have to do it because that's the goal, is to help others. The money's going to come, brother. If you're a
Exactly.
talented, hardworking person, the money is coming. But you're never going to realize your potential unless you find a niche that allows you to help people and take your talent and use it to do that. The money kind of just,
Right.
it just kind of happens, right? I mean,
Yeah. I remember when you were talking about possibly doing this endeavor, and that's when I actually commented on your post, I could help you, right?
yeah,
And you reached out to me with a phone call. And after I saw that we were talking, I went and looked at your page a lot more. And
yeah,
I realized, well, this guy's got way more invested. He's doing this already. Like he knows everything about the car business. There's nothing I could tell this guy in this phone call.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
when we
yeah.
talked, I copped to that. I was like, yeah, man, I was a little preemptive telling
Yeah.
you I could help you. You could probably help me. And
No, in the car business, basically you walk into a car dealership and you look around and there's just everybody's a snake. Everybody's out for everybody, it seems like.
yep,
And this platform, meeting guys like yourself and other people that I'm friendly with, it's like, no, there's guys in the car business that are just like me. I'm not trying to take from you. I want us all to eat.
yep,
And it's just such a cool thing, man, that this is
it
happening in this
is.
community. It's just great. Again, organic. I mean, organic things
Yep.
happen, and here you are, super successful.
But here's the awesome thing, like you were saying earlier, is I know it seems like, there's a lot of car guys, I'm sure, on the platform that don't like me because of the information I give, right? Which is fine. That's totally cool. The guys that do like me are probably doing things a little differently than the other salesmen out there anyway. And and they can see that, hey, he's got his place. And like I was saying earlier, like if a dealership's marking it up 2 points and I can get a point off that and they still keep a point,
Yeah,
I'm cool. My customer just saved a bunch of money, right?
right,
That they
right,
wouldn't have saved without
right.
me. But I can't always say that, in videos because people are like, well, if you're not ripping the dealership off,
Yeah,
that's not my goal. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is I'm talking to 25 dealerships some days, right? By
yeah.
the end of the day, when I make a video, I'm frazzled.
You're done. You're out of gas. Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
am.
yeah. Yeah.
I seem a little pissy, and that might be why.
You know what though? I will push back with you a little bit on something. Um, I don't think that you have a lot of car guys that don't like you, and I'm not saying that because we're on this podcast or because you
Thank
and I
you.
happen to be friendly. I don't think that you do experience that. I think that no, is there some? Yeah, of course, there's
Of
some.
course.
You know what I mean? There are a lot more people that don't like me. Trust me, I don't care, and I
Right.
know you don't care.
No.
But I don't think that you're that guy. I don't think that you're that guy that we look at as the enemy. And
Thank
I
you.
don't know if it's been on purpose. I don't know if it's just you being you, but for some reason, somehow you position yourself. I know the car guys that you talk to. These are real
Yep.
car guys.
Yeah.
These aren't 19-year-old kids starting out who are
Right.
impressed by your follower count. I know who you're friends with. You're
Yep.
friends with real car dogs. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So there's a level of respect there for you that I hope is
Thanks.
real and relevant and visible to me, for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, and I want to say thank you to you too, Sean, because you're a big dog in the game. And honestly, you've always embraced me and been nice. And you explained today why, but I never knew why. And I was always like, man, thank God the goat for real likes me. That's great.
Ah, come on, that's I like. You know what I like? I like real people, Billy. I like real people. Listen, I don't care if you're a dirtbag. I don't care if you're great. If you're you, I'm going to give you some kind of a chance,
Yep.
to see how we
Benefit
can
of the
help each
doubt.
other's lives. You know what I mean? If you're
Absolutely.
fake, if you're fake, that's a whole different conversation. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
And I think that's where dealerships are going. I think that's where it's heading is transparency, obviously. I mean, there's a lot of good examples out there of people doing what we're doing and making it very successful and being, I mean, think about it. I'm getting paid to advertise at this point, right? Which is
Yeah.
which is crazy because I used to have to pay $10,000 to have a one page ad in the yellow pages, right? A year.
Yeah.
So, I'm getting paid to do this now. And I think that there's a lot of car guys out there that are just being transparent. They're putting up their deals every day and their follies and things that happen
It's
and
so
making
cool.
making comical jokes about the shit that happens. And I think
Yeah.
that's awesome because, and I follow these guys because I think it's hilarious. Plus, I'll be honest with you, sometimes I'm not thinking about what could my next post be about. And then I'll
Yeah.
watch a sales guy give other sales guys tips on how to make more money. And I'm like, ooh, that's what I need to tell my customers.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
No,
Content.
that's great. That's awesome. I'm so proud of you. I mean, I
Thanks, man.
really am, Dale, and from where you've come from. Um,
Do you know what's really cool, Sean? Is that
yeah,
my daughters are really love TikTok, right? Of
yeah.
course, kid that generation does, and sometimes they don't want to give me too much props to get my head too big,
No,
right?
no, right, right.
But I'll be in the car and they're like, my teacher asked if my dad's on TikTok because they saw you, and the whole class knows that you're on TikTok. Everybody knew, and I
Yeah,
was like, oh, right on. And it's not like
yeah.
it's just
It,
so cool for them, for
it
me,
is. It
because
is.
I'm like, they're gonna
It
remember
is.
that forever. Like my dad went viral, crazy, right?
It is, dude. It's so crazy. Same thing with me. My kids, I mean, I'm 15, 16 years old. You know how I remember, and then we'll close up here shortly. But my son is, I get a call like right after school, right? I knew it was like 3:30, and I never hear from them. Then they go home and they eat and they act like they're doing their homework, but they get on Fortnite or whatever they do, and they live with their mother. And I'll never forget. I get this phone call, and it's a FaceTime phone call from my son, and it's at like 3:20, and I'm like, something's wrong. You know what I mean? I never get this call, so I answer the phone. It's my son there. And he says, Dad. And I said, yeah, buddy, what's up? Everything okay? Dude, I'm getting ready to put my shoes on. Like, I got to go handle something. And he says, Dad, he goes, my friend doesn't believe you're Go for Real 216. And I'm like, what? He goes, he doesn't believe that you're Go for Real 216. And I'm like, where is he? He goes, he's sitting right here. I go, turn the phone around. So he turned the phone
Yeah.
around and I got on. I go, hey, buddy, it's Goat. And he's like, the kid was like,
Uh,
and my son, I mean, the look on my son's face,
yeah. So
so
proud.
proud of his
Yeah.
goofball TikTok dad. You
Yeah,
know what I
that's so
mean?
cool.
So I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's awesome. They do. They think it's the coolest thing.
Yeah.
So here, man, what's next? What's next? What's on the agenda?
I got some big stuff planned, Sean. So I look at my competitors a lot, or not. I don't consider them competitors, I guess, but just guys that are doing what I'm doing, and I learn from them sometimes, right? And you can always gain strength by looking at your adversary or the person that's your
Oh yeah.
competitor. And I like a lot of the stuff they're doing and the avenues they're taking, and they're thinking outside the box. So I'm actually putting together for our website a really cool option for customers, and it's taking a long time, a lot longer than I thought it was going to take to build. But basically, it's a map of America, and it's going to have dealerships rated by us, not by Google or just by your reviews. And it's going to be criteria of like basically four things. Do they negotiate over the phone? Will they give you numbers over the phone? Is it a hassle-free dealership or haggle-free dealership, depending on, which I want to say that I don't think the business model is as bad as I said in my videos. I've
Yeah.
ended up shopping in a couple places and had a good experience. But and then, of course, do they insist that you finance? Just telltale things, I guess.
Yeah.
That customers now, they can go to my map, put in their zip code, and 300 miles of them, they're going to show all the dealerships around them if they're red or green. Green means they're great, they passed the test. Red means they're on the fence or they got a problem, right?
Yeah.
can save people a lot of time making the calls that I tell them to make by just
Yeah.
picking the right dealership. So
I
that's
like that.
one of the things that we're putting together. And like I said, it's taken a minute, but an even cooler event, which is kind of not related to this. I've been thinking about this for a while. We've got the name, we've got the idea, we've got all the social media built. We just got to go get the content. Um,
Okay.
we're going to go ahead and film guys with lifted trucks, asking them 5 essential questions that everybody wants
Okay.
to know. One
Yeah.
really important question that everybody wants to know about guys with lifted trucks at the end of our questioning. And we're going to not make fun of these guys. We're going to make them like the showcase. Like, what did you do to this truck? How cool is the truck?
Yeah.
And we're going to go to truck rallies all across the United States this year because they have these big lifted truck rallies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're going to get content, and we have a great name for it. I don't want to put it out there yet,
No,
but
no. Yeah.
a great name. We got merch in mind, and it's just a way to stay in the auto industry still, right?
Okay.
And stay
I
part
like
of
it.
things and relative, and give
Yeah.
people a different taste of who I am as the announcer and the guy that's doing the questions.
Yeah.
And it's going to be more fun. It's going to be a lot
Oh,
more fun than arguing with dealerships all day.
good, man. Dude, that's very creative. Very, very, very creative. And I love that you've niched it all the way down to, to lifted trucks instead of, a wide. I mean, what a huge area of interest.
Right?
People love lifted trucks. You know what I
Dude,
mean?
since
Are
I
you
was
going
a
to do
kid,
Jeeps too? Lifted Jeeps too?
I'm going to do lifted trucks and start there. If it
Okay.
takes off, then of course we could go, a lot of different ways. But I think, since, like you just said, I mean, I was a kid, I had a lifted truck. All my friends did. In Montana, it's huge. In the southern states, it's huge.
Yeah.
And they're still huge. I can't pull up
Yeah.
to a stoplight here
Huge.
without 3 of them around me. So, you
Yeah.
know, and I could just
Very
stop and
cool.
interview guys on the side of the road, literally. I mean,
Very cool. I love that. I
right.
love it.
So we have some really cool questions that we put together that we think are things that people would be interested in
Yeah.
hearing from each guy. And
Yeah.
it's one of those things where you'd be doom scrolling. You'll go to my page, you're like, I got to see another one. I got to see another one. I got to see
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah. Yeah. Go down this rabbit hole. You're gone
That's
for 2
it.
hours. Yeah.
So, and it's going to be fun. And that'll honestly, if I hadn't done this endeavor and learned that I can do social media, get in front of the camera and have no apprehension, then I wouldn't have ever thought of doing this. Right.
Yeah. Super
But
cool, man.
yeah, so we're excited
Awesome.
about a lot of good stuff coming.
I love it. So where can somebody find you? Where can our listeners, where can they connect with Billy the Car Kid?
I got a website, truepriceauto.com. And then, of course, you can just go to any of my links on any of my social media pages. Billy the Car Kid's my handle on all of them. And you can actually schedule free consultations with me. I'm usually booked out pretty far, but and we're going to open a new service pretty soon called emergency services for somebody that like maybe bought a car, they went home, they're regretting it, they don't know what to do. You have a short window before you can do anything, right?
Yeah.
So, like you totally regret it, you feel like you got ripped off or anything, you just need to talk to somebody right away.
Yeah.
We'll open a few more services on our website like that, but I think yeah, you can just get a hold of me. We try and make ourselves super accessible, and I try and answer all my DMs. So,
So Billy the Car Kid on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, same handles.
No, Facebook's True Price Auto.
Okay, so True Price Auto. What about IG? We on IG or no?
Yeah, Instagram, Billy the Car Kid.
YouTube?
Not yet, Sean. I just been lazy, but yeah, I need to.
I know, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
There's this podcast. Hopefully, it'll help it. You know what I mean? But
here's the thing: if I wasn't so busy,
yeah,
like with customers, I feel like that's just going to increase more customers, which I can't even handle right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I feel like the thing is,
well, that's great. Well, dude, listen, I can't thank you enough for coming on here and spending so much time. I'm sorry. I know you got.
Oh, it's fun, man.
I love it. But no, it's been great having you on here. And again, you're just one of the real guys. Guys, if you're out there and you're watching this, if you're looking for a car, and you don't really know where to start, or you're even a seasoned car buyer, guys, don't be so arrogant to think that a guy who does this every single day and who focuses on it, wakes up in the morning thinking about how to do it better, can't save you money. It's insane to think that. He knows financing, he knows trade-ins, he knows MSRPs, he knows used cars. So guys, don't want to turn this too much into I'm pushing Bill on you. But guys, this is a real car guy. This is a guy who held records at dealerships that still stand. If you don't think this guy can save you money, you know what? I don't know what to tell you. But guys, check him out for sure. And as always, we want to thank our sponsor, Credit Saint, one more time, real quick. If you're tired of being held back by bad credit, with Credit Saint, you can take control of your financial future, unlock the doors to better opportunities. Join the community of satisfied clients, 14,000 five-star Google reviews, experience personalized credit repair services that help you rebuild your credit score and achieve your dreams. I got to talk to my guy over at Credit Saint because we got to make this shorter. Call 855-279-6799. 855-279-6799. Credit Saint will get you on the road to financial freedom. Guys, this has been the Everyone Hates Car Salesman podcast. If you enjoyed this and my time with Billy today, like, share, follow, subscribe. Go for Real 216 on socials. Billy, you're the man. Keep it up, dude. Awesome business, awesome stuff. I'm glad we're friends.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me, Sean.
All right, brother. All right. Thanks for watching, guys.
All right, brother.